I'm Lily, 29, and this is a story of how a single careless sentence unraveled everything I thought I understood about love. Ethan wasn't the type of man I used to imagine myself falling for. He didn't carry the reckless energy of a wild spirit or the magnetic charm of a polished executive. He was just Ethan, genuine, steady, quietly attentive in a way that made you feel truly seen. He remembered how I always picked olives off my burger and never forgot to bring my favorite jasmine tea when I was sick. He'd listen, really listen, to my long-winded complaints about work, never interrupting, always offering that same soft smile that made the world feel less heavy. We met during our final year at university, introduced by mutual friends. There was no grand beginning, just a slow, quiet unfolding. Over the years, we slipped into something unspoken yet undeniable, like a dance with no name. We acted like a couple without ever defining what we were. I told myself it was to protect what we had from the pressure of labels, but deep down, I was afraid of losing him, of breaking something so natural and easy, of facing the truth that I was already in deeper than I dared admit. Ethan never pushed for clarity. He didn't make dramatic gestures or issue heartfelt ultimatums. He just showed up day after day with his calm presence and unwavering care. Maybe that's why I started to take him for granted. Love that feels secure doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't shout. It simply is. And in a world that celebrates passion over peace, I stopped recognizing the value of what I had. Then came the night that changed everything. I was out with a group of girlfriends, and we were deep into one of those late-night conversations about love and relationships. At some point, Claire grinned at me and said, "So when are you and Ethan getting married already?" The table exploded in laughter, and without thinking, I chuckled and said, "Oh, come on, Ethan's just my fallback guy. You know, the safe option for when I'm done having fun." The laughter around me grew louder, but inside, something twisted. I had meant it as a joke, a throwaway line, but the moment it left my mouth, I felt sick. Ethan wasn't my fallback. He was the one person who had always been there, loving me quietly, patiently, consistently. And I'd reduced that to a punchline. What I didn't know then was that Claire's boyfriend was one of Ethan's closest friends. The words I tossed out so carelessly reached him before I even made it home. The next morning seemed normal. Ethan texted his usual good morning, and we made dinner plans like we always did. But when he called me later, there was something different in his voice. A guarded edge I'd never heard before. At dinner, he was polite, asking about my day, smiling in the right places, but it all felt rehearsed, like he was reading from a script he didn't believe in anymore. Then, after dessert, he looked at me with eyes that still held all the warmth I loved and said, "I heard what you said last night about me being your fallback." I froze. My heart sank. His voice wasn't angry, not even hurt. It was quiet, resigned, like something had finally clicked for him. I rushed to explain, to laugh it off, to say it wasn't what I meant. But he stopped me gently. "I know you didn't mean to hurt me," he said. "But I think part of you meant it, even if you don't realize it yet." He was right. Somewhere inside me, I had treated him like a certainty, a foundation I could rely on while I chased other dreams. And the cruelest part? He had allowed it, because he loved me that deeply, that selflessly. He paid the bill, walked me to my car, and kissed me on the forehead. A kiss I'd felt 100 times before. But this one was different. It lingered. Final. A silent goodbye. "I think we need some space," he said softly. "We both need to figure out what we truly want." I wanted to shout that I already knew, that it was him. It had always been him. But the words wouldn't come. How do you tell someone you love them when everything you've done has suggested the opposite? Weeks passed. Then one day, I saw him at the little cafe we used to visit. He wasn't alone. A woman I'd never seen sat across from him, laughing easily at something he said. She looked comfortable there, with him, like she belonged. And he looked happy, peaceful, like he'd found someone who saw him clearly from the start, who chose him, without hesitation or delay. When our eyes met, he offered me a small, polite smile. Distant, familiar, but no longer mine. And in that moment I understood he hadn't just stepped back. He'd stepped forward, into a life where he wasn't a backup plan, but someone's first and only choice. If there's someone in your life who loves you quietly and without condition, don't mistake their patience for permanence. Don't assume they'll always wait while you make up your mind. One day, they'll realize they deserve to be chosen, not tolerated. And when that day comes, they'll walk away. I learned it the hard way, by watching the person I loved slip through my fingers, not because he stopped loving me, but because I didn't show him that I truly loved him back. Not in time. Have you ever let someone go because you didn't realize their worth until they were gone? I'd like to know I'm not alone in this kind of ache. The kind that stays long after the goodbye.